Welcome to Tech Lab STL's live learning. This lesson will introduce you to the Linux command line. We'll cover basic navigation once you've logged in to your Linux box. First thing you need to do is to open a terminal window. Easy way to do that is the Control key, the Alt key, and the T key all at the same time. That's letter T. And go ahead and follow along with these step-by-step instructions to learn how to navigate in the Linux environment. I'll go ahead and pause every once in a while to let you catch up. There's a slight delay in the transmission, but you should be able to keep right up. There's a chat window to the right on your screen, and anything that you want to bring up to go over, you can add to the chat window. It runs about 20 seconds behind the live feed. So if you want us to go into a little bit more detail on something, type that into the chat window, and we'll go ahead and cover those items. So let's get started right now. I've logged into our Ubuntu 16 server that's mounted up in the cloud, and I've done that by using PuTTY. We'll go over that in another lesson on how to reach the server via PuTTY. But primarily what you're going to see right now is what is on the screen, and I'm logged in as Bill at Ubuntu Teach Twitch. So let's try, and first of all, find out where we are, and that's the thing that gets most concerned in using Linux, is sometimes your whole screen will fill up full of a combination of commands and prompts, and it's a little bit difficult to figure out where you are. So if you're ever lost, all you have to do is type pwd and hit enter, and it'll tell you, in this case, I'm in the home directory, and within that directory, I'm in my own directory named Bill. You can also tell where you are by taking a look at whatever comes just to the left of the $sign. In my case right now, it's a tilde, which is that funny looking squiggly line that's to the upper left in your keyboard, and that tells you you're in your home directory, which in my case is home/Bill. What you'll see there probably is home/whatever your login name is. Now when we start typing commands, one of the things you'll see is the command itself. As we type it, I'll go ahead and repeat the pwd command. And the pwd, by the way, stands for working directory. So if you want to see what your working directory is, in other words, where you are, you would type the command pwd. And you'll see as I type it, it appears on the screen, and the cursor, which in my case is a green box, is immediately to the right of that. As soon as I hit the enter key, the result of that command will show up. Now, commands are pretty strict in the way that you have to type them, so make sure that you type them exactly correct. Okay, if you are jumping back and forth between being yourself and some other users as you're maneuvering around your system, as you will, as you're working on different areas, you might forget who you're logged in as at this point. So you can always type, "Who am I?" and that's typed in all as one word. Looks like Whammy. And as soon as you hit enter, it will tell you that you're logged in as yourself. In my case, I'm logged in as Bill. The other thing you'll want to do is look around and see what's happening and see what's located around where you are, because right now you're just on a black screen. So if I want to look around, or as my grandfather used to say, have a look-see, I type LS. As soon as I type that and hit enter, it shows me everything that's in my immediate environment. So in this case, we see a number of blue words on the screen, and you'll get used to seeing blue names, and if it's blue, it means it's a directory or a folder. Directory and folder really mean the same thing. We'll try to use the word directory as much as possible while we're dealing with Linux. So you can see that we're in an area, we're in our home, and in our home we have a directory named bash scripts, one named bin, desktop documents, downloads, and so on. These are all directories. You can think of them as folders. So as we start filling up our screen with commands, occasionally it gets a little bit crowded and we want to clear things a bit. So I'm going to type the word clear. And when I type that and hit enter, it clears all of the data off of our screen. The data has not disappeared though. If you scroll up on your screen, you'll see the stuff is there, but it's just hidden from view. It's sort of scrolled off the top of the screen. If I want to move around in Linux, I use the change directory command. That's the command CD. So if I again look around with LS, have a look-see, I can go into any of those directories. So let's say I want to go into my desktop directory. I would type CD and then I put a space and I'm going to type desktop. And when I hit enter, you'll see that nothing really has changed, except now instead of just having a tilde, the little squiggle, followed by the $sign, it now reads tilde/desktop $sign. So again, if I want to find out where I am and I type pwd, it tells me I'm now in the home directory, I'm in the Bill directory within home, and I'm in the desktop directory within Bill. So if I want to take a look around and see what's here in the desktop directory, I type ls, and I see that I have 3 blue items and 1 white item. The blue items, House of Bobo, scripts, and widgets, are directories where Weasel is a file. Now you'll notice that a lot of times I use Bobo and Weasel as just silly names for files and directories and so on, because neither word really means a whole heck of a lot. And so, not to make it sound like it's part of a command, I'll use Bobo or Weasel. If we want to go into the House of Bobo, we can again use the CD command, change directory, and I'm going to start typing House of Bobo, and I'm going to get as far as HOUS, and then I'm going to stop, because one of the wonderful things about Linux is that it can anticipate what the possible command could be. It knows I want to change directory, and I've started to type the name of a directory, and if I tap the Tab key, it will go ahead and finish that command. So typing Tab, because it knows the only place that I could possibly go from here is House of Bobo. So it's sort of a built-in artificial intelligence. If I were to use my backspace key and start to type CD space SCR, it knows that the only possible place that I would want to change to, the directory that I would want to go to, is the scripts directory. So if I hit Tab, it will finish that. Now, if I had two directories with the same, that started with the same letter, that might give me a bit of a problem. So let's create a directory here. And to do that, we're going to use a new command called make directory, and that's abbreviated mkdir. And then I put a space in, and I'm going to create a directory, a folder in other words, and I'm going to name it Scream. So SCREAM, because it's maybe that's going to be a directory that I'm going to have some Halloween characters in. So now if I do an ls, I'll see that I have a scripts directory and I have a Scream directory. And if I want to cd into my scripts directory and I type sc and hit tab, it's only going to be able to go as far as scr, because it's trying to guess which one I want to go into, and it doesn't know. So it can only fill out the S as far as SCR. So now if I put an E in there and then hit Tab, now it knows that I must want to go inside of the Scream directory. So if we go inside the Scream directory, you can see now, if you look right here, that I'm in my home directory, I'm in my desktop directory, and I'm now in the Scream directory. I can confirm that by typing pwd, and that tells us where I am. I can also look around, do a look-see with ls, and notice that I don't get any answer when I do ls because there's nothing inside of that directory. So I want to go up and take a look in some of those other directories. So I'm going to change directory, and I'm going to go up. If you ever want to go up one level, you type cd space, then dot, which tells your Linux machine that you want to go up one directory. And you'll notice what happens. You're now on the desktop level. You can look around. And now I want to go into my House of Bobo directory. So I'm going to cdho. There's only one directory that could possibly start with ho, and that's House of Bobo. I'm now going to look around, and I'm going to see that inside of the House of Bobo, there's a bedroom, a dining room, a kitchen, and a living room. Okay, these are also directories. So you can see the metaphor we're using here. Directories are kind of like rooms that can contain different things, the same way that on perhaps a Windows or a Macintosh computer, you have folders that contain files, but they can also contain other folders. So let's go into the bedroom. So we're going to use cd-bed and hit tab. So I'm now in And if you look at this, you can actually see that your prompt is telling you where you are. You're in your home directory, in the desktop, in the House of Bobo, in the bedroom. And if we look around, you're going to see that there's a bed, a bookcase, a chair, and a dresser. Okay, these are all files. Okay, how can you tell they're files? Because they're not blue, they're white. Okay, so let's go up a level. So we'll do cd space ... and I'm now back in the House of Bobo. I'm going to go ahead and clear so that I can get these commands up at the top of the screen and get rid of all of this other information. And I'm going to look around the House of Bobo, and I'm now going to go into the kitchen. So I'm going to cd KIT, hit tab, kitchen. I'm going to look around, and I see that there are cabinets, there are 2 chairs, a dishwasher, a stove, a table, and there's a fridge. And the fridge looks a little bit different than everything else because it's blue. It's actually a directory. So let's take a look inside that directory. Now, I could go into the directory, which might be a little bit uncomfortable because it's a refrigerator. It might be too small for me to climb into, but I can look into it by using look-see and then use its name. So I'll start to type fridge, and I'll use the tab key to finish it. So now this is going to take a look-see inside of the fridge. And it tells me there's cottage cheese, lettuce, milk, and there's a Ziploc bag. Well, that Ziploc bag is also a directory. So maybe I want to take a look inside the Ziploc bag. I think to do that, though, I want to actually go inside the fridge. So I'm now going to do cd FRI, fridge. I'm inside the fridge. If I want to check on that, I'm going to do PWD. That will tell me where I am. And I'm now inside the fridge. I'm going to look around, and I see cottage cheese, lettuce, milk, and a Ziploc bag. I want to look inside that Ziploc bag. So I'm going to do an LS, ZI, and it knows it has to be the Ziploc bag, right? Because that's the only thing in there that starts with ZI. And I'm going to hit enter. And it tells me there's a green lump inside of the Ziploc bag. So that may be a little bit like your refrigerator at home, where there are all sorts of interesting things that have been in there for weeks and weeks. Okay, so I now want to go back to my home directory because I've gone all the way. I'm now inside of a refrigerator, and it might be a good idea to get back. So I can do it with a series of cd commands. So I can do cd space ... That will take me up 1 level. And you'll see how my prompt changes as I do that. I can keep typing this, or another wonderful thing that Linux does, I can use my arrow key to go back and recall one of my earlier commands. So if I type the up arrow once, that was the last command I typed. If I hit the up arrow again, it brings back the command ls Ziploc bag, which you can see just above it is one I used a little while ago. The next one, ls. Before that, pwd, cd fridge, and so on. And I can use the down arrow to go backwards. Well, what I want to do is go back to cd space ... and hit enter. I'm now in the House of Bobo. Up arrow, that's going to repeat that command. Desktop, I'm going to look around just to remind myself of what's there. And I'm going to go back one more level. And I'm now back at home. If I do a PWD, it reminds me that I'm in home build. I'm going to do a clear. Now, anytime you are anywhere in Linux, you can always get home in a hurry by typing plain old CD. So let's go inside of that refrigerator again and then jump back to here. So I'm going to do CD, and I remember that the refrigerator was somewhere near my desktop, so I'm going to start to type that. And it seems to me it was in the house of Bobo, so I'm going to start to type that. And it was probably in the kitchen, so I'm going to start to type that and hit tab. And it was probably in the fridge, so I'm going to start to type that. So now I'm going to go there, and I'm going to look around, and I'm going to see that I am in fact inside the fridge. There's a Ziploc bag again. If I want to immediately return to my home, all I have to type is CD, change directory, and don't put anything after it, and hit enter. And there we are, we're back home. Well, that's all the time we have for now. Thank you for watching. If there are any other topics you'd like to see covered, contact me at bstannard@gmail.com. Till next time, this is Bill Stannard at Tech Lab STL, reminding you that there are two kinds of people in the world: those who can extrapolate from incomplete data